St. Kilian. Myth, legend, and the apostle of the Franconians. The life of the Irish monk Kilian, or Kilian, has long been a legend. Kilian was born around the year 640 in the Irish village of Mulla, today about an hour's drive from Dublin. In Cavan, the county of 365 lakes, our story begins with Kilian's birth. Kilian was of noble descent and, even as a young man, well respected among his peers. He enjoyed an education in one of Ireland's early monastic settlements. In those days, the Irish monks could be recognised by their simple habit and their Celtic tonsure, meaning that they shaved their head from ear to ear. Like many monks of his time, Kilian was inspired by the Gospel, and in 686 he went to Germania to preach the Christian faith and evangelise the pagan population. Kilian left Ireland together with 11 companions. Among those were Kolonat, a priest, and Totnan, a deacon. The travelling missionaries reached Gaul by boat and then continued on to the Franconian Empire. Having arrived in Franconia, Kilian and his companions looked upon the territory of Würzburg. They were so fascinated by the beautiful scenery and the local amenities that they decided to settle there and spread the Christian faith. Like all Irish monks, Kilian and his companions had a profound knowledge of agriculture, and they shared it with the people so that farming soon became more effective. The growing wealth of the region soon inspired the confidence of the people of Würzburg, and there was a growing interest in the new Christian faith. Würzburg, as the central settlement of the region, seemed to be the ideal place to spread Christianity. Legend has it that Kilian and his companions then travelled to Rome in order to obtain the Pope's authority to spread the Christian message. After a profound examination, Kilian was granted permission to preach and to baptize. Separated from their other companions, Kilian, Kolonat and Totnan returned to Würzburg and started their evangelization of the Franconian people. Back in Würzburg, their preaching soon attracted the attention of Duke Gottsbert, and it was not long before Kilian and his companions taught him the Christian faith. Duke Gottsbert and all his people were soon baptized by Kilian, and from that time on, the Christian faith has been ever present in Würzburg. Duke Gottsbert had married the widow of his late brother. Her name was Gailana. This was traditional practice in early Franconia, but according to church law of the time, it was not permitted. When Gailana heard about Kilian's efforts to annul her marriage, she was seized with anger. In 689, when Duke Gottsbert was at war, Gailana was the sole ruler. And while the Duke was away, she was spinning the plan to have Kilian and his companions eliminated in order to protect her marriage with Duke Gottsbert and not to lose her social status. Without a struggle, Kilian, Kolonat and Totnan were assaulted during their evening prayers. They held up their prayer books and with a blow of the sword were beheaded. Their bodies, chalice and gospel book, were buried on site. When the Duke returned, Gailana told him that Kilian and his companions had moved on. Some 60 years later, the bodies were found when a monastery was being built on this particular site. On the 8th of July 752, the remains of Kilian, Kolonat and Totnan were laid on a stretcher and in solemn procession carried to St. Mary's Church on the Castle Hill. This removal of the relics was virtually a canonization, and since then the 8th of July has been celebrated as St. Kilian's Day, or Kiliani, as the Franconians say. Up to the present day, Kiliani is the most important religious and civil festival in Franconia. Today, Neumünster Church is situated in the centre of modern Würzburg. It was erected on the site where Kilian, Kolonat and Totnan, the apostles of Franconia, had met a violent death, and is regarded as the birthplace of the Christian faith in Franconia. And to this day, the remains of St. Kilian and his companions have been preserved in the so-called Kilian's Crypt of Neumünster Church. During the Second World War, the relics of St. Kilian were removed from the crypt and brought to Geroldshofen in order to be kept safe from damage or loss. The people of Würzburg were only informed about this towards the end of the war. And in 1949, the repatriation of the remains to Würzburg was celebrated with a huge procession.
When you have the relics returned after the Second World War to Würzburg, there were many more thousands of people on the road. That was also a spirit of optimism after the destruction of Würzburg. The veneration of relics came back. The will to live of the people here in Würzburg came back too, and to rebuild at this point.
The whole city of Würzburg was out in the streets and welcomed St. Kilian home. Every year, around the 8th of July, the procession of the relics is the starting ceremony of the Kiliani Pilgrimage Week. The relics are carried from St. Burkhard's Church over the Old Main Bridge to Würzburg Cathedral. During Kiliani Pilgrimage Week, more than 15,000 Franconian Christians come to Würzburg to venerate the relics of St. Kilian, which are on display in the cathedral. Würzburg Cathedral, named after St. Kilian, looks back on a long history of more than 1,000 years. The construction of this church should provide a worthy cathedral for the three apostles of Franconia and for the Diocese of Würzburg. The main altar contains St. Kilian's shrine, holding the gold-framed heads of the three apostles of Franconia. During Kiliani Pilgrimage Week, the shrine is put on display for veneration by the people. Regardless of all religious places, St. Kilian is ever present in today's Würzburg.
Today St. Kilian is not simply a historical figure, he is a saint who is also present in our worship, in our churches, in names. Many children who are baptized today are also christened Kilian.
Viele Kinder, die heute getauft werden, werden auch noch auf den Namen Kilian getauft.
The Kiliani Fun Fair, right in the heart of Würzburg, is a festival which dates back nearly 1,000 years and takes place annually around the Kiliani pilgrimage on the 8th of July. For 2 weeks, the Kilian Fair offers a wide range of funfair rides and beer tents, attracting up to 1 million visitors every year to the festival grounds. The German-Irish Association was established with the objective of promoting and supporting the relations between Würzburg and Ireland. Citizens of Würzburg have become involved on a voluntary basis in organising all sorts of activities related to Ireland.
The German-Irish community has been founded in 1986 by the Würzburg people who are enthusiastic about Ireland. The biggest motivation for me is the personally human contact between me and the friends in Ireland. Everyone who had ever been to Ireland will certainly be able to confirm that you will be particularly warmly received in Ireland. Würzburg has historically the longest connections with Ireland, certainly of all German cities. That's more than 1300 years back to the Holy Kilian. And I would say Würzburg is the Irish city on the continent.
Ich würde schon sagen, Würzburg ist die irische Stadt auf dem Kontinent.
Würzburg, for example, has been participating in the worldwide greening campaign on St. Patrick's Day, when prominent buildings all over the world are floodlit in green. The facades of Würzburg Town Hall and Neumünster Church have been part of the greening. County Wicklow and the town of Bray in Ireland have become connected with Würzburg by a number of very active school exchange programmes.
Well, I think our students, whether visiting Ireland, your students visiting Ireland, or our students visiting Germany, they gain an awful lot. The relationships and the friendships that are formed at this stage when people are a little bit younger tend to be life-forming and enduring, and we very much welcome that, because I think overall we probably need to do an awful lot more to get to know one another a little bit better. But most important, we need to get to know on a people-to-people level, and what better way of doing that than starting young. This is a win-win situation, and it's creating a foundation for the future from which both our countries will gain very strongly.
The partnership between Wicklow, Bray and Würzburg was established in 1999 and is an important contribution to the strong links between the cultures.
Some of these relationships between cities, between counties, some of them are very strong, some of them are very active. I'm just so pleased that in the case of Würzburg that we have a connection and that we have a partnership that really does work. We have a living partnership here, and I cannot think of a better example here in Germany than that connection that exists between Würzburg and Ireland. As an ambassador, I couldn't be prouder and I couldn't be more happy than to see this type of activity and to see it taking place so successfully and so enthusiastically and so effectively as it is here.
The annual Spring International Festival, which takes place on the hillside near the castle in the grounds of the former Bavarian State Garden Show, all international societies in Würzburg have a great opportunity to present their activities. In the Wicklow Garden, donated by Würzburg Partner Region, the German-Irish friendship comes to life with music and dance and all things Irish.
It's very good. It's terrific, really, because it's with the people of Würzburg. We've made many friends in the 15 years. As you see, even the bakeries are called after St. Kilian. Everything is St. Kilian,
A relationship of more than 1,300 years connects Würzburg with Ireland, and in spite of some troubled times, this link has always been renewed and has never been forgotten. Thanks to St. Kilian and the Irish Apostles of Franconia, this relationship has been filled with life ever since. Würzburg, the Irish town on the continent.
It is a great pleasure and honor for us in Würzburg to have the three apostles of the missionary of the 7th century from Ireland to Würzburg. And our people are still very grateful and thankful that they came to us after all these hundreds of years. We thank the Irish people that they have this great history of Christianity. And it is a great pleasure for us to have the contact nowadays as well. And therefore you are all invited to come to Würzburg and to find the relics of the three apostles, Kilian, Kolonat and Totnan. Thank you.